Design, create, inspire. Welcome to KFX Fashion Atelier, where digital fashion goes from concept to runway. Every great digital garment begins with a workflow. And today, we're going to do a little demonstration of a partial pipeline here. The main attraction to this video is actually going to be MetaTailor. We're going to just focus on MetaTailor here for a moment. And a couple of ways that you can bring your clothing in to Character Creator using MetaTailor in your pipeline. So here on the screen, you see I have a character. His name is Zeus. And Zeus, he needs some clothes. Right now, we're going to put a shirt on him. Because, man, I'm jealous of the muscles in this guy. All right. So in order to really fit clothing on a character like this, you need to put him in an A pose. And what you want to do is go over to your template, your item, and go down to your animation folder, your poses, and calibration. And you want to apply the A pose from that folder onto your character. Because in a couple of these methods where you use the bridge to send your character over to MetaTailor, you want to have him in an A pose. Yeah, in this particular A pose. It's going to help. I'll be honest, I'm not quite a fan of this A pose because of how you see what's happening here with the arms. I'm just not really a fan of that. Sometimes I have a custom pose here that sometimes I use, which spreads the arms out a little bit more. So that way you can so that way you can do a really good fit on some clothing here. If you create your clothing in Marvelous Designer. And you can take your character from Character Creator, export it as an FBX, and put it in Marvelous Designer and design the clothes for that character. And then when you bring those clothes into Character Creator and turn it into a clothing item that specifically fits this character, well, if you save it in your custom library and you apply that shirt onto other characters in Character Creator, it will automatically fit. And just to give you kind of an example, I'm going to go over to some clothing here. I'm just going to go, no, not that. I think is that shirts or skirts? No, that's skirts. Here's where I want it, shirts. So I have this shirt that I kind of that I made for another character. It has a little different build. And since I'm applying this to that character, you can see that it's going to be a really nice tight fit, right? And then of course I got to learn to get rid of that. And now you can see that it's got a nice tight fit shirt on him. So that's a great thing about Character Creator. But what we're going to do is we're going to take some clothing from Marvelous Designer and we're going to put it on this character. So let's say you just did a straight export for Marvelous Designer, right? And here's Marvelous Designer. You're using the default avatar, and we're just going to grab something from your library here. Just a plain let's see. Let's do this t-shirt right here, regular fit. A regular fit t-shirt on this character. We'll just do that. Add centimeters. Maintain current avatar size and pose. And we'll just do that. So now the shirt is on this character. I'm going to simulate it real quick. And always make sure your UVs are laid out, which is good. I'm going to close the UV editor. Let's simulate this. And for something like this, you can, keep it on normal. All right. So we simulated it. We got our shirt. It's a plain t-shirt. And I want to fit it on to the buff guy. And right now, we're going to export this as an FBX. All right. Clothing, shirts. And I want to go ahead and save this as a shirt example here. Yeah, we're going to replace it. Now, deselect avatars when you're selecting XBX, and this is something extra that I do, exclude rig, just to make sure there's nothing else going on there. Thin, weld, uncheck avatar. Make sure unified UV coordinates is checked. Everything else you can really leave it at default, and make sure that, of course, your file type is binary, FBX version 2020. So yeah, everything else default. These are the only changes you make, and you can save this as a preset here, or a configuration. We click OK. It exported it, and now let's go ahead and bring this piece of cloth in here for this character. So create accessory, and you see that I'm going to get rid of this folder because that's for another demonstration here later in the video. So I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need it. Okay, come on. It's taking a little while to delete. All right, we're going to open it, and it doesn't fit. All right. Change this to PBR, and I'm going to change just a default color just so it's easier to see here. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get like a general fit here on this character. So go here. I'm going to pose it in my pose actor. All right. Mirror, or my pose editor here. Mirror. Okay. And let's see. And you can see it's kind of a tedious. And it already, now, when you bring in a piece of clothing as an accessory, it will automatically attach it to the character bone here. And for when you're fitting clothing, it doesn't really matter what bone you fit it to, because when you transfer weights, it's going to transfer it properly anyway. So that really doesn't matter a whole lot. If you would have like an axe in his hand or something like that, then yeah, it would matter what bone you pick. You pick, because you want like an axe in his hand. But this is a shirt, so it really isn't going to matter a whole lot. Okay, so we got that. I want to go try see if I can't get his pose back again. Let's see. There's that, and then all right, mirror. All right. So now that we got that, and that's probably about as good as I'm going to be able to fit it, I'm going to go to the shirt, and I'm going to transfer skin weights, and then you see this box pop up, and you have this as a default clothing item. And you see they got several categories here. And in order to really export the character and the shirt out to MetaTailor using the bridge, it has to be a clothing item. So we're going to do this. I'm going to apply that, close, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to conform, and I'm going to try to conform this as best as possible. Calculate collision, and you see it did a pretty decent job there. Pretty decent job. Not too bad, actually. So not bad. You see you got a little bit of poke through here. Calculate collision. Not bad, I guess. And you got some there as well. Well, that's not bad. You know, that's not too shabby. So let's say you don't want to do that. Come back out of here. I'm going to go back this way, and the really buff dude here. So let's say I want to use MetaTailor to fit this. All right. Click on Now, when you click on the bridge, you have to have MetaTailor open. And you can see I got MetaTailor open here. And I'm keeping this scroll down here for a reason, because there is a nude woman right here. If it does happen, if it does happen to show, I'll just blur it out. But in any event, you got to have MetaTailor open in order for the bridge to work. So what this bridge will do when you have, your character and your clothing item, it'll send both of them over, right? It's going to send both of them over. Come back to MetaTailor, and there we start. So, all right, give it a project name, Zeus shirt. And the first thing that's going to come up when you start your project is that you got your avatar. His name is Zeus. And let's see. And since this is directly from Character Creator, the textures are all going to be applied correctly the way they should be. So you can click next. And then, of course, it's going to recognize that there is a shirt here. And you want to select the category and change this to shirt. Next step. All right. I don't think we need to adjust anything here. Next step. And saving avatar. And looky, it fit the shirt onto the character. And actually, I'm going to get rid of this. This was from, I was testing earlier. So we're going to delete that. All right. So this shirt just got automatically fit to the character. And it did a really good job. So now that I fit the clothing back on the character, I want to export this back out to Character Creator. We export, choose Character Creator, and you have, since I have Character Creator 5, I'm going to send to Character Creator and watch what happens. We have a shirt that fits. And you notice what happened here. It kind of changed the name a little bit. It should put 2 on there. But it deleted the previous copy of the shirt, the clothing item, and replaced it. Now, if you were to keep this as an FBX and send it over to MetaTailor, it'll fit the shirt and send it back as a clothing item. But the original shirt that you imported will not be deleted. That's by design. So here we go. And so we got the shirt fit on there, fit pretty good. Kind of a clipping a little bit here, but that's not too bad though. Interesting. All right, so another method, of course, going into MetaTailor is exporting your character and your shirt as FBXs and bringing them in. So we're going to delete that. I'm going to delete this avatar. I'm going to go back home. Don't save. So select your character, file, export. Export as an FBX or OBJ, whatever you want. Selected. I'm going to switch this to Blender, but you're welcome to pick Maya as well. Doesn't matter. Max textures 2040. Just this is just force a habit. I want to do current pose. Uncheck first frame. Even though we don't have any hidden faces, we're going to delete hidden faces anyway. And all this is just out of force of habit. And we're just doing, we need to do mesh and motion in order to get the pose. We want to export, and you can see I got a Zeus character right here. So I'm just going to overwrite that. Save. All right. So now we come over to MetaTailor, create a new project. I'm going to import a custom avatar. I'm going to go to my projects, avatar, and Zeus, the mighty Zeus. Import, project name, Zeus shirt. Confirm. All right. It's importing, and you can see that it's going to import some really bland textures. I usually will delete these. Now you can see it's got a T, kind of a T, semi-A T pose here. Uncheck that. And if you apply pose, if you check apply pose, then it's going to put it into that A pose that you exported it as, or whatever pose you did. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all this stuff here. All right, so we got our mighty Zeus. Next step. All right, next step. Everything is in its place. I don't see nothing out of place. So now we got our avatar. And you can see we got Zeus here. I'm going to delete this Zeus here because we don't need it. But I'm going to show you something here in a little bit. That'll be great. All right. So we got our avatar here. We're going to import clothing accessory. And I'm going to go back out to my clothing folder here, and I'm going to import that shirt example, right? So here's the shirt. I am going to change the hue on this. Just to give it some color. That way I can see it. All right, man. Just so you know, next step. And you can see it doesn't fit for our mighty Zeus here. So we want to change this to shirt. Click next. And I'm going to move the shirt up into kind of a place here. All right. All right, that's about as good as I can get it. And actually, that's pretty good there. Let me see. Down a little bit more so it says pretty good on the show. All right. Confirm. Now let's do a pose match on this and get this thing to fit. All right. About as good as I'm going to get it. Confirm. Next step. And we let it fit, and voila! We got just a little bit of clipping there, and that's okay. Let's see. Let's see if we can pull that out. We always want to do layer because we want it non-destructive. I'm kind of iffy about this tool. All right. So we don't see any clipping there. Turn that down a little bit. Relax. All right. I'm going to push that in just a little bit. Just a little bit of sculpting here. All right, that looks actually pretty good. All right. We're going to slightly pull these out here, and we're going to leave that the way that is. All right, cool. Confirm. All right, it's fit. Now, exporting. Notice that these are grayed out. And that's because the avatar that you imported is an FBX and it didn't come from Character Creator. So you can't export it to CC5. What you have to do is you have to export the shirt as an FBX, right? And let's see. You want to give it a name, folder name, shirt MT, scale 100. And you notice I got avatar these options off. Now, there is a bug where it still exports everything. So you have to do a little bit of cleanup before you can export this as a shirt. So what I'm going to do, make cloth vertex colors to, we're going to do that. I want to do that. Let's see. All right. And we're going to export it. And you'll notice that it exports into your folder here. I don't know what that checkbox does. Bake cloth vertex colors to texture. Not exactly sure what that does. I was assuming that it would create a texture folder and, yeah, I assumed it was going to create a texture folder. Let's see. Yeah, but it didn't. Okay. So now what we got here, let's go ahead and bring this in, right? Oops. No applicable character profile was found, and that's fine. No, let me cancel that. I want to cancel that. What you want to actually do is what you want to do is, because of that bug, is you want to clean this file up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this here, and I'll show you why. We're going to bring in our shirt MT, and you notice, looky what we got here. Yeah. So I'm going to do a little bit of a blast here. Shirt example. I'm going to do it by FBX material name. And there we are. Okay, now we got all that. Clean. I'm just going to do this. All right, now we got that. Except I want to keep the normal and UV. And I want to promote these. And I'm going to take these from point to vertex. Normal, UV. All right, good. That's the appropriate place to put these, is in the vertex attributes. And let's just make sure these points are fused as well. I got 2583, and there we go. And there we go. And that's the other thing. Sometimes on FBX models, the points aren't merged together. You got 22,000 points, and then we got blasted this. And now that we fuse, and you want to make sure, like if you're working with Houdini, you want to fuse them. If you're working in Blender, you want to merge vertices. All right, so there we go. We got that. You know what? I want to add a little bit of color in this. And I'm going to add it as vertex color as well. Let's see. We'll do this one a little bit more blue. And we got vertex color. No. T-shirt example, FBX, ROF output. All right. And when you're exporting from Houdini as FBX, you want to uncheck export in ASCII format because you want it as binary. You want to convert units because then this will keep it at the converted size. And let's see. Smoothing groups you can leave unchecked. That's only for Unreal Engine. All right. So now we got this. Save the disk. And here we go. We got our t-shirt example, right? So now we can bring in, we'll just do it this way. Create accessory, t-shirt example, and voila, it mostly fits a little bit. But don't worry about that. Because it's mostly under here where it's, you know, this is fine. Transfer skin weights, apply. All right, close, and then conform, calculate collision, and voila, it is fixed. So some of this is okay because the collision calculation in Character Creator will fix a lot of that stuff for you. And you notice now I don't have any unwelded seams. All right. Okay, so that's another way. And you see I had to do a little bit of cleanup in that before I brought it back in. Okay, so that's the second way. The third way, which is probably the best way, I think, out of all of them here. Now, if you really want to effectively do this here, I'm going to get rid of that now. And I'm going to close Houdini. And let's see, I don't need Marvelous Designer anymore because I already got the shirt out that I want. All right. So now, the other way, the third way, just export, just send your character creator over to MetaTailor via the bridge. All right. And so what it will do is it will bring your avatar in, and of course make your project Zeus shirt, and voila, we got our hero. And I didn't give him a name. Boo. I think I can correct that though. Let me see here. Where's he at? Yeah, I can. Zeus. All right. Now, what you can do is, if you have your clothing as FBX files, you can simply import them. Import clothing accessory, import shirt example, and you notice, okay, we're going to change the tint on this. All right. We got our shirt. And now we want to fit it on our hero. So let's fit it. We got shirt. Next steps. Let's move this up and over. And we do want to scale it up just a little bit here. Actually, this, I want a little bit more scale just to make sure he's got. All right. Make sure it fits around. Oh, interesting. Cut off center a little bit. All right, there we go. All right. Confirm. Pose match. And just fit it as best as you can. I think we'll take the ibs back a little bit too. All right. And fit it as best as you can. Confirm. Next step. And voila. It is fit. All right. And if we do running, and you can see a little bit of poking there. You can see a little bit of clipping there, which is okay, because that's, you can deal with that in Character Creator. Let's see. Character Creator has the ability to hide mesh underneath clothing, so that's not too much of an issue. But you can see in a walk it fits pretty well there. So what we're going to do is, and now here's the coup de grace. Because this model came from Character Creator and you have it saved, you can export this back out to Character Creator. As long as your avatar is from Character Creator, you use the bridge to export the character. You can bring in your shirt via FBX file as an FBX, fit it, and then you can send it to CC5 and it will go. And so here we are with our model. We got Zeus. He's got this shirt on. He's buff. He's ready to go. He's ready to go. My goodness. Doesn't he look good with that shirt on? That's actually my favorite. I kind of like that. Thank you for joining me here at KFX Fashion Atelier. I hope today's pipeline video inspired you and gave you something new to take into your own creative work. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button on the video and subscribe to follow for future collections, tutorials, and behind the scenes projects. Until then, design, create, and inspire.